How to effectively use NFTs for philanthropic impact.
So, hi everyone. Welcome to our panel. This panel is, as you know, about philanthropic impact. I'll introduce myself and then I'll let all the other speakers introduce themselves. And let's get the conversation started. So, my name is Filippo. I today focus on education, Web3 education for enterprises. I also teach the Binance Master in blockchain and crypto. And I was recently selected by LinkedIn to create a program called Web3 for Enterprise as part of their accelerator.
Hi guys, I'm Ben Ryan and I am an ex-Uber driver turned Web3 enthusiast, early Bored Ape investor who has changed many lives with the kind of scope for bridging the gap between philanthropy and the blockchain, and I'm here to talk about the struggles of it mostly rather than the benefits.
My name is Fiona Aboud. I'm a photographer and an artist, and my work is focused mostly on building tolerance and financial inclusion, more specifically universal basic income. I'm a member of Change DAO for socially minded artists, and I'm really excited about crypto universal basic income and the possibilities of funding communities around the world and creating new economies.
Hello, everyone. My name is Renata Couto. I'm originally from Brazil, but now I'm based in Amsterdam. I have a marketing background, 15 years working Web2, always to big corporations, FIFA, World Cup, L'Oreal, Booking.com in Amsterdam. And I joined the space last year when I got from my husband my first NFT from Women-led project. I fell in love with the social impact that these new technologies can bring. So I'm the co-founder of Women Force NFT, which is a project based on sustainability, art, inclusion, and bring education. Nice to meet you all.
Amazing. So, we'll start the conversation by bringing up one of the biggest problems I think that we all have noticed, which is, all of us have projects that are related to philanthropy in some form or another, and we've seen it in the space. And the truth is, it's very difficult to get a project out today, or rather to make it stick, due to the current climate, right? We've seen this happen. The space is not what it was 6 months ago. What used to work as a marketer, I think that most can appreciate. What used to work before doesn't work tomorrow. What used to work yesterday won't work today or tomorrow. And so, what is it like for you all to launch a project in the current climate?
Do you guys want to go first?
I can start, sure. I've been working on a project. I'm an early ape investor as well. And the reason I got into the project was to make a derivative. And during the pandemic, I came up with this technique of combining images. So looking at this community, like how our identities are merging with our digital identities. And I think what's been the best thing is, even though right now things are not doing so great, but it's building these personal relationships in person, which has been such a joy for me, especially in London. So I think it's like more the long-term relationships and just like staying around, like not evaporating. So.
Yeah, to me, when I feel last year, it was all about short-term goals and flipping, which is nothing wrong about that. But I feel that this year is more about long-term and building products, building new business models, and the brands coming into place with the mass adoption. It's a huge opportunity. So I feel for projects with scalability or purpose, so there is a chance out there to build something with artists or brands or universities. There's so much we can do about it. I think it's hard because of the bear market, and it's so many projects out there, and it's just like, I don't know, like 1% or 5% of the whole population are in Web3 right now. So there is this problem of supply and demand.
1% actually.
1%.
81 million users.
So to me, it's the biggest challenge. It's really the supply demand, and how do we bring Web2 people to Web3 as well?
For me, it was, we got in on the apes like Fiona did, and I was part of the marketing strategy for 7 projects that sold out within 4 hours. Exciting stuff, and I turned around and I thought, how can I make a big social impact? So I thought I'll design the best charity project ever. And it's one of the hardest things to market to the space because, again, current climate, no one wants to give money away, first and foremost. Secondly, no one believes that you're going to give away 85% of the money that you retain after costs, and it becomes a big thing. And then we released our project at the same time the other side released, and the gas went, I mean, absolutely insane, and it put a lot of base users off, and it challenged me to redesign the whole essence of how to give charity to people and how we can accept charity within the blockchain, and it's very, very difficult, extremely difficult, but it'll be worth it one day. I mean, this is the reality.
It's worth it today as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I was going to say, I mean, I also, just like you guys, I mean, if my project was just about Alzheimer, basically, it's donating to Alzheimer's. So if I would say that if I had started my project, let's say 8 months ago, it would have probably been in a different place today. And the tactics that I had to use as well were very different, just like partnerships. We'll talk about it in a second. But I feel that the two main buzzwords that have been used around, and I'm going to be very careful with using those today, but utility and education, right? We've been talking about this. Like when it's a philanthropic project, okay, what's the utility behind it? Besides you knowing that you made a difference, which is very difficult to make it stick, and also, of course, the secondary part, which is the idea of the social flex, right? Which is, you know, people buy it to show, people will buy a token to show that they're having, you know, so that there's a social impact there, and they can show off that they're doing good to the world.
Yeah, look what I'm
That's,
doing. Yeah,
you know, there you go. That's
yeah.
the first thing, and of course the second thing is the thing of education, right? Like what's going on there? You know, we know that most of our audiences are in Web 2, so what are we doing about that?
I mean, what this actually led to me from was working out how I can actually onboard the people that do give charity in this world, which are fiat owners mostly. And I used my dad as a test case scenario, and I tried to design a platform. And we've managed to figure out in 3 clicks we can get you a subscribe to a mailing list, a wallet, and an NFT in your wallet in 45 seconds. And I think that is the most beneficial way forward to bring in the philanthropic, you know, events into the space, because we're marketing it to a percentage of a 1%, and it's a very, very difficult market. Or it's not even a market, really, is it? It's a...
Well, I'm just going to add too that with a universal basic income model, so my project is benefiting this organization called Impact Market, and they have communities that they're funding in 30 different countries, and there's been like 41,000 beneficiaries. And so people are able to choose which community they're going to fund. In that community, there's metrics that person can then track. But one of the benefits is like onboarding people in a community. Hey, you're going to get a certain amount of Cello dollars per month, or, you know, and there's different ways of keeping people on track, so there's no abuse of fraud. And there's a lot of incentive to just like, oh, I get this money, I can use it in my local business, I can use it to, you know, pay my bills. And that, I think that personal incentive, and that's very crypto, right? Like personally responsible for everything, and just very self-determined, so.
Yeah, to me, there are many, since I come from a marketing background, there's so many things I can do. What I'm doing now with my project is exploring the B2B channel, and this is an interesting channel if you do a project focused on charity, because companies like to partner with projects like that. So I didn't open my mint yet, but this week I made my first sale, B2B sale, even though without releasing my collection. I'm not gonna say the name of the company here, because I cannot announce, but it's a very well-known tech company. And basically, I sold NFTs in bulk for them, but I'm also doing a workshop for the employees to teach them the basics of Web3, how to open a wallet, what's NFT, what's blockchain, what's metaverse, and so on, and also like present my project. And then we're going to organize a giveaway of these NFTs there, which are already pre-purchased from the company. So I feel that there is a lot of creative ways to do it, and when you have like a purpose-driven, a serious projects with docs, founders behind, with a roadmap, with real-world utilities, I think you really can build different connections and find other ways, finding, you know, like different than other projects before, because in the hype, as Filippo said, there are projects that sold out 10,000 NFTs in 90 minutes, and even less than that. But so I think there is a lot of opportunity there if you're building a serious project.
100%. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the next point that we're going to bring up, as we said before, was going to be about brand partnerships. I was just going to say, I mean, from my experience as well with my project, if you happy for you to go and check it out on OpenSea, you'll see 7 units were sold out of the initial mint of 70 tokens, like nothing, right? And they were given to, it's because I reached out one-to-one to thought leaders who are going to purchase, but what it did create is what you said, an ecosystem around it of brands or businesses or people that want to get involved. And if we look at donators for philanthropy, specifically, it's mostly businesses. It's not actually individuals. And so, for example, the second part, the black and white collection that we have was actually taken by a ticketing company. It's now being used by them as art for their NFT ticketing, which is the business way of approaching. It's one of the ways to do partnerships. Anyway, I was going to say, we see that, based on what we said before, we see that 86% of brands that have launched NFT collections are actually donating it for multiple reasons. One of them being that they don't want to have crypto as part of their books. The other one is they want to appeal to Gen Z and Gen Alpha as part of their work. But basically they're donating, part or all of their revenue streams at the moment. So what do you see? You mentioned this. What is the opportunity there to collaborate with brands and also partnerships with other thought leaders?
So the interesting journey for me was trying to find the charity that would accept crypto, and a legit charity as well, fully registered and everything. And we managed to find one sole charity called Human Relief Foundation, which feeds children and families across the world. Not particular people, just anyone in need. And they were the only one I could find that would legit take the top 10 crypto exchanges and coins, etc. But then it led me to investigate more, and you find companies like the Giving Block exist and set up the whole infrastructure and allow you to, as a registered charity, accept crypto donations straight through through their platform and stuff. So it was an eye-opener to discover all that after I'd started. I wish I'd done a bit more sort of reconnaissance before, but I don't know how you guys experienced it. What was the?
I think sorry, Fiona. Yeah, I totally agree with Ben as well. I think the charity is a huge opportunity because the whole problem that we see with charities, it's the lack of transparency. We don't know where the money is going. Most times we donate, and then 80% of the money goes to the organization, and then 20% goes to the cause, and it's really hard to follow up what's being done. So I think a blockchain comes to change this scenario, right? Like to bring transparency and the possibility to have contact direct with these charities and seeing the impact of your donations. So there are companies there, Giving Block, it's a big one that intercepts these connections between brands or projects and charities. I partner with another one from the Netherlands as well. It's called Kinder World, and they do this. They have a tech startup where they evaluate charities by criteria of transparency, financial transparency, long-term plan, and then also onboard them to accept crypto. So then we do this whole transparent things, this whole alliances. So I think it's super interesting to explore that.
For me, the way I got into universal basic income was I did photography and video for Andrew Yang's 2020 presidential campaign in the United States, and he started a nonprofit after he dropped out of the race. And partnering with them on another project to benefit their pilot programs of UBI in the United States has been really beneficial, just in terms of he has a great access to a lot of people on Twitter, and and he's also originally the inspiration for Impact Market, which is the crypto UBI side. So it's like got this wonderful thread through the story, and I should also mention that partnering with a local community in Brazil, that's the advantage, right, of crypto. It's just a smart contract, and boom, the money will go straight to a community. And this woman, Cristiane Mendes, in Coranjinhos in Maranhão, which is where my mother is from, she's leading up they have, now since they've been onboarded onto UBI through Celo Dollar, they have NFT projects, they have microfinance projects, like it's basically offshooted to a whole bunch of other kind of crypto education. So it's been just really magical.
Yeah, I think, so all of you mentioned this idea of, right, the last mile problem, especially youths. What is happening there, I mean, it's like you said, I think that most organizations are not at the place where they are ready to accept how this actually is going to work, right? I mean, the organization that I partnered with, for example, ADI, they're the leading global voice of dementia, and they said, you have to transfer it to fiat and then, give it to us, which for me is a good thing because obviously I'm taking it out from my tax, from my books. But I think that is the incentive long term. So let's maybe talk a little bit about the incentive for, for both people and brands specifically. Like, what do you think the incentive should be, or how should this be framed for all of those that want to either start a project or, even for ourselves?
Think about that one.
Do you maybe want to?
Yeah, the incentive, can you rephrase your question? The incentive for brands to join the space or for people to join the space?
No, I mean, what I'm trying to say here is essentially, how is it that we should appeal to, if we want to get partnerships like we did,
Yeah.
some of us have gone to partnerships. How did that happen? Like, how did the conversation actually start from the other side? How did you actually communicate to the other side? It's like, okay, this is what needs to be done, and this is why it makes sense for you to, do this and partner up.
So I talk about, I partnered with a charity called One Tree Planted, and for $1 they plant a tree somewhere in the world. And one of our initiatives was to, every time something's sold or resold, we plant a tree in the name of the person registered on the blockchain. Beautiful. It took me 8 meetings with One Tree Planted to convince them that I wasn't a scammer or that I wasn't trying to funnel illegal money for my own benefit. And I think for me, the problem has been trying to convince people that we are actually trying to do some good stuff, because they hear crypto, they hear rug pulls, they hear all these, intense negative things, and it's a big put off. But yeah, nine meetings I had with One Tree Planted to ensure that they trusted what I was trying to achieve. So that's been, for me, the biggest part to frame, is getting their trust to actually believe that crypto is a real thing.
It took me also like 6 months to get the CEO of ADI on board. I know the feeling. Please.
I think, talking about the last mile, I once worked on a project where we raised money for amputees in Sierra Leone for education and job training, and getting the money to them was expensive, impossible, and we had no idea if it was actually going to people. It did, but so crypto just makes it so easy. So when you're talking about with a brand, the buzzword of utility, I like this idea of social utility, and NFTs being measured in social utility as being part of like the roadmap. So I think really encouraging that as being like, this is what you stand for, and people in this community in crypto care about changing the world. I mean, we are changing the world. Look at what happened with Ukraine, how much money was raised for Ukraine so quickly, and so many other causes like women's rights in the United States. Like, it's amazing how quickly we can mobilize and get that money to where it needs to go.
Yeah, I think the whole thing about the Web3 is cutting the middleman, right? Like the banks and regulations or big companies controlling our data, our information. So I think bringing this to the charities is a huge opportunity. I agree with Ben. It took me a long time to get some charities on board as well. And when the charity is super huge, there is a lot of bureaucracy behind, so a lot of approvals. Even to open a bank account for a business receiving crypto, it takes a long time, much longer than opening a regular bank account. So I think it all comes out to education and I think if you show like that you're serious and you're doing something, you have a business plan, you have founders behind, I think all that helps a lot as well.
One of the things that I noticed, it always comes back to the educational part of onboarding people. How do we convince the 99%, 95%, whatever the percentage is? 99%. How do we convince these people? How do I convince my dad to open a crypto wallet so he can give, 1 ETH of charity per year to offset what he wants to do? That's what it leads back to me, is how can I quickly get these people to see the value of donating in crypto?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if have any of you read the Mom Test book? The Mom Test?
No.
Well, it's basically this book. It's about how you should interview users before you release a product. Anyway, so I think it's about redefining that mom test. It always says, the bottom line of the book is don't talk to your mom because she's going to give you validation. She's going to tell you you're awesome because she's your mom, right? But in this case, it actually makes total sense. It's asking your mom, well, actually, do you understand what I'm talking about? And if you do, then, and she will say, yes, I do. That means you've simplified it enough while providing insight to a point where it's compelling, and that's, I think, key. Anyway, we have a few more minutes.
Can I just add on that? I think
yeah, sure.
we talk about donations a lot here, but what like my long-term vision for my project is just like one MVP project, but I think we also should get inspired. There's a lot being done in game and fashion, and it's beautiful, but like we can think here about new business models, like a play-to-earn game and we help the environment, or a fashion brand or a fashion wearable that creates a new creator economy, like the Fabricant as well as a project partner. But there is so much that if we partner with universities, the students have so many ideas. So if we have a platform where the students can come and bring ideas and co-create together. So I think the charity, the philanthropy, we have how to effectively use NFTs for philanthropic impact. Donations just one way, but we should co-create together and have like sustainable business models, and new things can be created there. Like,
how many people are actually, below the poverty line who are feeding their families with P2E, right? There's many of them. So, I mean, this is like, this is the beginning of a new socioeconomic model. It's just a question of how we will step up to the responsibility that we were given as early adopters to make sure that this is actually happening the right way. And it doesn't have to be the sole motivator, right? Like the incentive shouldn't only be to give back. It's yes to give back, but we can serve ourselves, but just serving yourselves is also not helping. It's doing that, combining the two. Anyway, I was going to
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
I think also it's looking at it from a perspective of need. Like for instance, in the developing world, there's I think 700 million people that are living under $2 a day. So you tell those people, hey, you're gonna get $1 a day per month, and that immediately they're like, yes, I want that. I can spend it in my local business. I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna download this app. I'm gonna adopt crypto, and that's gonna, once that scales, I think there'll be a lot more adoption, and basically banking the unbanked is gonna be a huge part of this ecosystem.
I mean, the $1 a day you can pretty much earn by just watching ads on Brave. So it's like, what's going on here? Anyway, so sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, so maybe let's open this for questions. We have like 2 minutes if anybody has any question, practical, or just would love to hear more on the experience. Anybody? Don't be afraid. Yeah, please, we don't bite.
We're about to launch our project. We have a large ship. So I'm project managing a non-profit organization called OCF. We have a vessel. So BBC Planet 2 was filmed on board of the vessel. You saw probably David Attenborough going down and submersing in this globe-like, glass-like submarine. Was one of ours. We're preparing for BBC Planet View 3. That's going to be also recorded. Anyway, we're launching NFTs next month. If you buy one of them, you'll be able to go on the research with us for 7 days. Wow. Proper research to Antarctica, Madagascar, all of these places.
Amazing. Where do I sign up?
Yeah, how can I buy?
Really, I want to talk with you guys individually after this, but how do you deal with expenses? Like finding artists, just collaborators, third-party services, especially in Web3 where, as you said, you want to disclose what's happening with the money.
Do you want to take this? I mean, I can tell you my perspective. I'm bootstrapped, and it's a side project.
Same.
I mean, but most of us will probably tell you this. I'm no code. I'm a people person, not a coder. I've minted everything by myself, found a partnership, like everything by myself. You don't need. People seem to think that in order to get the initial audience message fit, you need more than just yourself or whatever it is that you're doing. So try to limit costs. That's what I would say, and try to do everything yourself if you can. It's as simple as that. But yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And speak to as many people as you can. I found myself now being part of a really amazing concept called Art is the Cure. My business partner is next to you actually, and using art as therapy. And I didn't come into that until I knew. And all the utility and stuff that you're talking about, it can be found. It's just literally just talking to people that have had a tiny little bit of experience and building on it.
And in terms of finding artists, you should look into ChangeDAO, which is a DAO for artists that are socially minded. And there are definitely climate artists on the platform.
Yeah, on top of that, I think partnerships and talking, like in my case as well, my artist is one of the co-founders. And so this helps a lot. But it's really like being out there, going to events. I mean, a lot of brands, they want to enter Web3 instead of them like paying an agency, like, you know, doing like change management. They can just buy an NFT there in the space or partner with an existing project, like, or organization. Like we just partnered with UNESCO, so we're going to be exposing our NFTs in the museum and end of November in Paris with like environmental purpose NFTs. So there's so many possibilities there. Just put yourself out there and look for the right people, and we're more than welcome to talk to you after as well.
I was going to say, there's like 3 ways in which brands can partner with collections. It's one of them, they either purchase an agency like Artifact did, you can partner with brands like Wrangler, Deadfella did together, and you can also create your own kind of. But I mean, if you can use any of these, but the bottom line is, I just wanted to finish this by leaving you a small startup idea for those that want to pick up on this. This could be the beginning of a social credit model. It's, we have seen like carbon credits out there, right? And the biggest investors of philanthropy are actually businesses. What if we could turn blockchain into a social credit model for businesses to use? Think about that, the potential positive impact of that. Anyway.
I hate to end this beautiful.
No, of course.
No, it's
Thank
it's
you,
been
guys.
fantastic. Like, it's very well received.
Thank you, everyone.
It's
Thank you so
clear.
much.
Yeah, this is a terrific talk. It has been fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much.